Happy Homebrew Wednesday. This week we're going to be brewing a first fruit beer I've ever brewed, and it's going to be a raspberry blonde. In this recipe we have fresh raspberries. I put 4 pound into the fermenter in the second stage of the fermenter and leave it there for 5 days. But what we've got going into the kettle first up, 8 pound of pale malt, 2-row, 2 pound Vienna malt, 8 ounces of caramel crystal malt 10, and then roasted barley, only 2.4 ounces of that one. It's a pretty dark one. And then the hops is Centennial, and we're going to have 1/4 ounce of Centennial and Cascade in the 55 minutes, and then 20 minutes we're going to put another 1/4 ounce of Cascade, and then 5 minutes we're going to put another 1/4 ounce of Cascade. The yeast is ale, American ale yeast, so we'll put that in at 1056. The first time I've ever used roasted barley, it's a dark grain. It's very dark, so there's a little bit of it, but this is a blonde base, just a nice blonde recipe from what I've been told, base over the fruit, so they won't apparently compete for flavours. It'll be a bit tart, but still a little bit malty, so it'll be a nice flavour. So in the kettle at the moment I've got the recirc on, going for a 153 today of a mash temperature. It's creeping up there now. Have a look in here, I've got the recirculation going, so and it's flying through, great little pump. Just waiting for the temperature to come up to 153, and I'll just pretty much run it to 155 and hold it there until I put the grain in. It shouldn't drip too much with the ink bird. It'll just switch on the heat, it'll bring it up, and got the filter in the mash tun and the grain ready to go. So what I'll do is I'll get everything in there, and then I'll drop back. Okay, so we're all mashed. We've got all the mash in there, ready to go. In here is a bit over 5 gallon batch. There's 7.5 gallons of water, and we're looking for 153, or very close, I hope. 50. Okay, so we've lost 2 degrees. Okay, not bad. All right, so let's get the ink bird on and the recirculation going. Also, into the water, before I put it in, I put 1 tablespoon of pH stabilizer, and check the pH just to get it back down to 5.2 is where I like it. So that's where I like to keep it. So now what we're going to do is get the recirculation water going back through, and get some efficiency out of this recirculation mechanism on this brew in the bag style, and it'll hold our temperature at 153 with the Inkbird. It just turns the element off and on when the thermostat tells it to. It's pretty remarkable. It's very automated. Well, just mashed out to 170. The boil's finished now, so we'll start turning everything off and get it ready for the boil. Turn our motor off and plug it. Now's the time when I get pre-boil sample as well, see what the gravity is. Hopefully we're hitting our marks. It'd be nice if we did. Take it up to a level. Let's wait for that to cool down a little bit, and then we'll get our free boil. And on there. With this pot is we just take it off, just grab a bag, nice string tie on the bag, and then just pick them up and hang him and let it drain, and then we'll check our level to make sure we've got enough water to boil, and while it's draining I usually plug it in and turn up the power, and you can hear it start to crank up the heat in that element, and it usually boils in about 5 minutes. Also, now's the time when I've got my first hop edition weighed, ready to go. I like these little bags. You just put them in a little bag and then just put the bag onto the side and throw it in when I'm ready. And I don't get all the crud in the bottom, which you know, could be hard to clean, especially when you've got an element in there and the bazooka screen on the end of the thing. So I will let it drain out. Check the boil volume. I want about 6.6 gallons in there to boil down to just over 5 gallons to put in the fermenter. So and then I'll be back when that cools down our sample to check pre-boil gravity. So the boil's been going for 5 minutes now. Time for our first hop addition, and that's 1/4 gram of Centennial. And then we'll get another one in at 35, another 1/4 gram, and then I'll see you back when it's time to do some more stuff to the boil. I put in the wort chiller in 15 minutes ago. 15 minutes to go. Time to put the wort chiller in. Make sure it doesn't go on the bags of hops. Get that sanitizing. Also, this is when I put my yeast nutrient in, and it's 1 teaspoon per gallon. So let's get that in. Okay, and then I also put a Whirlpock tablet in now too, so it helps to clear it out a little bit, and see if we can get that nice gold and crisp finish. Especially when a fruit beer, because I want it to hopefully with the raspberries going turn pink. So the clearer I can get it, the better the colour looking, and the colour and the appearance is half a beer. And then I've got my last hop addition, which will go in at 5 to go, and then we will get her to cool down and put her in. Okay, so final gravity is 150, 154. Right on where I need it to be. I think it's like 2 above, but I'll take it. I'll take it at this stage. So I've got a new toy. It's a little oxygenation bottle. Put straight oxygen. It's got the tube with the stone, and the gas comes out through the stone, and lovely, lots of little thousands and thousands of bubbles. So more oxygen, happy yeasties. And it's always good to have new toys when you got homebrew. Okay, so this is the raspberry blonde base. It's been in the fermenter for 24 hours now, and she's got a nice krausen appearing on top, bubbling away beautifully. And yeah, nice yeasty cake. See all the movement in there. It's she's really kicking on in there. It's great, looking good. So things are going well so far. It'll stay in here for 10 days, and then I'll rack it into a secondary on top of 4 pound of crushed raspberries, and it'll stay in there for 10 days. And then we'll rack it into the keg condition and put some in bottles. And obviously the fermentation will kick off again once it goes in on top of the sugar from the raspberries, and we'll get a little bit more ABV, but hopefully it clears up and we get a nice light golden colour from the first and into the secondary, so we can get some red colour, and then it'll be a nice strawberry colour, raspberry colour blonde ale. Hello everybody. Okay, back for the long-awaited taste test of the raspberry blonde. I've had it in the keg conditioning, and this is a bottle one. I bottled some as well for about 4 weeks, maybe a little bit over, maybe 5 weeks by now. The recipe did call for the gentleman who put the recipe together and has run it every year for a 4-week keg condition. I did try some a little early because it's in the keg, and every time I come past, I did try it after 2 weeks. It taste it a little tart. It has a sour note to it. Honestly, I was a little bit concerned. But now I'm sure it's rested a long time. So we're just going to give it a bit of a test. These are the bottle conditioned ones. Okay, nice. Little bit of smoke, cannon smoke. So see how she pours out. No, it's carbonated. That's a good start. Trying to get. I got a little bit of filth in there out of the glass from the bottom. She's a rich red. I'm not sure if you can see the colour properly, but it's a rich red. Out of the keg, I tried some out of the keg, and it's beautifully clear out of the keg. The blonde recipe had a little bit of barley in it, which is unusual for a blonde, but that's why it came up a little darker than a normal blonde anyway. Beautiful raspberry notes to it. Even when I cracked the cap off, you could really smell the raspberry in it. Head is okay, I suppose, for what Americans like. It's very carbonated. The head's not too bad. See if it holds. All right, we're going for taste. I'm getting the blonde. I'm getting that blonde backbone, the base of the beer, and it's. I'd assume it's a very nice blonde by itself. It's got a little bit of bitterness. Finishes very crisp, very clean, very light, like a really light. I'll have to check the malt that I use in it. It's like a pilsnery style even. I know there was some 2-row in it, but right on the back end you've got a tiny little bit of tartness, and then the raspberry comes through. It's not really overpowering, which is good, and I think that's the 4 weeks in the bottle. Has mellowed it out, and I'm starting to believe that a lot of the fruit beers do take that long to mellow out, and you know, everything just seems to blend and they complement each other. Beautiful base to this beer though. I'd like to do the base just by itself as a blonde sometime. I think it's going to be like a real sessionable beer. It's probably be a crowd favourite. Pretty easy to drink. Pretty easy to drink. We've just gone into winter now. It's Christmas. Actually, it's Christmas Day today. So, Merry Christmas, everybody who's watching this. And it's snowing outside, so it's not a real blonde weather drinking beer. But I'm sure this is not going to last too much longer in the bottle. It's very easy to take places and drink. So, Merry Christmas, everybody. And I've got some big new developments in the garage on the brew. Here I've got some new toys. I've just been road testing and trying, so going to release another beer soon. It's at my wit's end. The last beer of the season I just brewed last week. It's a Dunkelweiss and a Lee Erdiger. So Merry Christmas, and see you next year for more brews.